Oil lights on. Many ignore it. But the engine needs oil. Even minutes can ruin it. I'm Morgan Lane, and I want you safe and calm. If that red oil can shows up, treat it like a fire alarm. APOA says, address it immediately. Normal idle oil pressure sits around 25 to 35 psi. When it falls under 20, metal rubs metal and parts fail fast. NHTSA warns a loss of oil pressure can stall your engine and raise crash risk. I have seen motors toast themselves in under 5 minutes. So here is our plan while you are pulled over. Stop, check the dipstick, add the correct oil, inspect for leaks, inspect the sensor and wiring, test real pressure, decide tow versus drive. Then check recalls and bulletins so this does not surprise you again. Speed tip before we move on. Pull over now, hazards on, park safe, engine off, and set the brake. If you are watching this from the shoulder, there is a free oil light emergency checklist in the description. Grab it and follow along. What did you do when your oil light came on? Stop or keep driving? Number 1 starts now, and it can save your engine. Number 1, pull over immediately. That red oil can is not a suggestion. It means pressure is low and the engine is not getting the lube it needs. APOA says to address it immediately. Here is why. Most engines idle around 25 to 35 psi. Drop under 20 and you are in the danger zone. Without oil pressure, bearings run dry, a pump can cavitate, and metal scrapes metal. NHTSA warns a sudden loss of pressure can stall the engine and raise crash risk. So do this right now. Signal. Move to a safe shoulder or a parking lot. Click the hazards on. Shift to park. Set the brake. Shut the engine off. Do not idle and hope it clears. Do not try to stretch it to the next shop. A few minutes of driving can cost you thousands. If traffic is heavy, stay in the car with the seat belt on until it is safe to step out. Keep it simple and calm. This first step protects your engine and you. Next, we pop the hood and confirm the oil level with the dipstick. Number 2, check the oil level with the dipstick. The engine is off and cooling. Wait about 5 minutes if it was hot. That lets the oil drain back to the pan. Now pull the dipstick, wipe it clean, reinsert it all the way, and pull it again. Read the level between the marks or crosshatches. If it is below the low mark, you are low on oil, and that can trigger the light. If it reads full, we may be dealing with a sensor or wiring issue. APOA also reminds us that this light is a low-pressure warning, not just a time to change oil. Your reading changes with temperature, so 5 minutes after a hot shutdown is fine. A cold check after 30 minutes is also fine. Look at the color, too. If it is gritty or foamy, note it. Keep the engine off until you know more. If the dipstick says low, we add the correct oil next. If it says full, we keep troubleshooting. Either way, this simple check tells the truth and guides our next move. Number 3, add the correct oil. The dipstick showed low, so we fix that now. Open the filler cap. Check the owner manual or the cap for the right viscosity, like 0W20 or 5W30. Use that spec only. The wrong oil can change pressure and starve parts on a cold start. Add a small amount through a funnel, about a half quart at a time. Wait about 30 seconds so it drains to the pan. Recheck the dipstick. Repeat until you reach the full mark, but do not go over. Overfilling can whip the oil into foam and drop pressure even more. If you just had a change, make sure the filter is tight and its gasket is not doubled up. Also note this tip for later. If you ever see sky-high oil pressure at idle, something like over 65 psi, that often points to the wrong viscosity or a blockage. For now, keep it simple and aim for the full mark. Start the engine for a moment only if the level is at full. If the light is still on, shut it off. Next, we look for leaks. Number 4, inspect for leaks. You topped the oil, but the light stays on, or the level keeps dropping. Time to look under the car, use a flashlight and stay safe. Park on level ground, Do not crawl into traffic. Scan the drain plug. It should be dry and snug. Look at the oil filter. The base and the gasket should be clean, not wet. Check the oil pan gasket along the edges. Follow the lines up to the sensor area on the block. Fresh drips or a shiny wet trail point to a leak. Even a slow drip can drop the level in minutes and bring the light back. If you see a puddle forming, stop. Fix the leak before you run the engine again. If you do not see a leak, make a note anyway. Small leaks can hide behind covers. Quick mid-video favor. If this helps, subscribe to Recall Roadmap with Morgan for recall and TSB alerts. That keeps you ahead of known issues. All right, the outside looks dry. Next, we check the oil pressure sensor and the wiring. Number 5. Inspect the sensor and wiring. Oil level is full and no leaks show, yet the light stays on. The sensor may be lying. Find the oil pressure sender on the engine block. Unplug the connector. Look for green or white crust on the pins or a loose fit. Clean it with electronic contact cleaner and plug it back in until it clicks. Trace the wire. Look for chafing, broken insulation, or a bad ground. A weak battery or poor ground can trigger odd warnings too. If you have a small scan tool, see if a P0520 code shows up. That code usually points to the pressure sensor circuit. Here is a quick field check. With the engine off, wiggle the connector while the key is on. If the light flickers, the connector or wire is suspect. Fix what you can right here. If the light is still on, do not guess. We need proof of real pressure. That means a gauge. Next, I will show you how to test actual oil pressure so you know the truth. Number 6. Test actual oil pressure. We want data, not guesses. If you can, move to a safe spot or a garage. A mechanical gauge threads into the pressure port where the sender sits. Hook it up and start the engine. At idle, a healthy engine usually shows around 25 to 35 psi. If the needle sits under 20, shut it down. That is trouble. Now raise to about 2000 RPM. Pressure should climb, often near 60 or a bit more. If the reading does not rise, stop the test. On some cars, a scan tool can read oil pressure too. If it shows a P0520 code with normal gauge readings, the sender or its circuit is the issue. This test tells you what matters most. The pump is either building pressure or it is not. If it is healthy and the light still shines, replace the sender and recheck. If pressure is weak, do not run the engine again. Now that we have real numbers, we can make the call. Next up is the tow versus drive decision. Number 7, tow versus drive. This is where we protect your wallet. A short local tow often costs between $50 and $150. An engine rebuild or a replacement can run $2,500 to $4,000 or more. That is the math. If your gauge showed under 20 psi at idle, or the light stays on while the level is full, call for a tow. NHTSA warns that a loss of oil pressure can stall the engine and put you at risk. Do not flip a coin with your motor. If the gauge showed healthy pressure at idle and it rose near 60 at 2000 RPM, and you found no leaks, a short, cautious drive to a nearby shop may be fine. Keep the scan tool handy and watch the light. The moment it returns, stop again. When in doubt, choose the tow. It is cheap insurance compared to a $3,000 surprise. You just made the hard call the smart way. Next, let's make sure your car is not one of the models with a known fix. Number 8. Check recalls and next steps. Some oil pressure problems are known issues with factory fixes. For example, Ford recalled over 100,000 vehicles for an oil pump belt tensioner that could cause a loss of oil pressure. Your make may have a similar recall or a service bulletin. After you are safe, search your VIN on the NHTSA recall site or call your dealer. Ask about any bulletins for low oil pressure, pump failures, or sensor faults. Sign up for maker alerts so you hear about updates fast. I also built a free oil light emergency checklist. It has these steps: hot and cold dipstick tips, safe pullover reminders, plus a simple tow versus drive guide. Grab it using the link in the description. Keep a printed copy in your glove box and a digital copy on your phone. Staying informed turns a scary light into a clear plan. You just handled an emergency like a pro. Now let me wrap it up with the key takeaways and a quick ask before you go. Do that today to stay ahead. That was a lot, but it is simple when you follow the list. You stopped, you checked the dipstick, you added the right oil, you looked for leaks, you checked the sensor and wiring, you measured real pressure, and you made the tow versus drive call. You also learned to check recalls and grab the checklist. That is the difference between guesswork and a plan. AA urges drivers to act right away, and you did. The pressure targets to remember are these. Around 25 to 35 psi at idle is normal. Under 20 is danger. A tow for a small fee can save you thousands. If this video helped you stay calm and protect your engine, please subscribe to Recall Roadmap with Morgan and turn on alerts for future recall and bulletin breakdowns. Download the Oil Light Emergency Checklist from the description and keep it handy. Thanks for watching. What quick test or tip did we miss? Share one smart ad for the checklist below and tell me why you chose it. Your story could help another driver today too.